Well, it's not only on the politics front where things were rocky. Things have also been rocky when you look at the business world, and you're looking at the Tongaat Hulett's accounting scandal, allegations leveled against Spar on its treatment of store owners, among others. And you move on to Bain and Company, which was found by the State Capture Commission to have colluded with former SARS Commissioner Tom Moyane and former President Jacob Zuma to capture the South African Revenue Service in order to weaken it. There are also some of the, stories that continue to make headlines even to this day in the business world. And Mahlaka, a business journalist, is joining us live now to help us make sense of some of the headlines that we've seen in 2022. Ray, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I mean, it certainly wasn't an easy year for Bain and Company, as even to this day, it's still trying to clean its reputation.
Indeed. I mean, this is a company that has been found by two commissions of inquiries, the Zondo Commission and the Nugent Inquiry, of capturing and restructuring SARS when it didn't need to even restructure SARS's operations. Bain's work at SARS, it won a tender back in 2014 to restructure the operations of SARS, but that restructuring process actually damaged SARS, led to more than 200 workers at SARS to be displaced. Some even left SARS, and Bain's work at SARS even weakened its ability to collect tax. But the Zondo Commission, again, confirming the Nugent Inquiry's findings that Bain's work at SARS was destructive, and that the former commissioner of SARS, Tom Moyane, colluded, with Bain executives in destroying SARS. I mean, this is quite damning for Bain, but bizarrely, Bain denies any wrongdoing, despite two commissions of inquiries found that it was a central figure in the state capture project.
And I mean, when one looks at also Spar, things not really going well at some point. I mean, coming under fire for, some of how, in some instances of how store owners are being treated, governance issues there also being raised.
Indeed. I mean, just to go back to what Spar does, its operations. Spar sells stores, Spar stores, brand stores that is, to franchisee owners. So people buy Spar stores in order to own them and generate money from those stores. Now, Spar faces fraud charges. In fact, fraud charges have been laid against 3 executives of Spar. Some of the store owners accuse Spar of still taking money from them in order to gain control over certain markets. So some of these store owners were given loans by Spar, and some of these store owners claim that they have paid those loans back in full, but Spar claims that these store owners still owe them money. So Spar is really facing fraud charges of still taking money from existing store owners. So this is quite a damning allegation against Spar, and basically it has been accused of accounting fraud, taking money from those store owners and claiming that they still owe money as well.
And Ray, I'm sure this one you've been watching closely as a business journalist. Steinhoff, when people saw developments around the attachment order and, some of Marcus Jooster's assets, being attached, and then now Steinhoff at some point hitting record lows, people are still baying for some accountability there, but it looks like it might still be a long way off.
It might be a long way off, Bongiwe. I mean, this is a company that admitted to accounting fraud back in 2017. The mastermind, allegedly, of that fraud is Marcus Jooster, who's the former Steinhoff CEO. Now, in South Africa, 5 years later, Marcus Jooster hasn't really faced any charges for Steinhoff and the mess at Steinhoff and the retailer nearly collapsing. So the Reserve Bank this year swooped in and attached and took some assets that belonged to Marcus Jooster, including his wine farm called Lancerak in Stellenbosch. Some of the assets that were taken by the Reserve Bank includes Jooster's art collection. But a lot of people are looking for justice when it comes to Steinhoff because 5 years later, after it admitted to accounting fraud, none of the former executives at Steinhoff have been brought to book. So the Reserve Bank attaching, some of the assets belonging to Jooster, that was some sort of justice for a lot of people. And also that in March next year, Jooster will face charges of fraud at a German court next year. So Steinhoff is listed in Germany, and apparently some of the fraud that happened at Steinhoff also took place in Germany. So Jooster is facing charges when it comes to fraud, and that court case begins in March next year.
And that's going to be an interesting one to watch. And I mean, one of the other stories talking about tight spots has been MTN pulling away and no longer buying Telkom. This pushed Telkom into a very, very tight corner.
Indeed. Now, MTN around August announced that it was planning to acquire or buy Telkom, and this would have created, the merger between MTN and Telkom would have created the largest telecommunications company in South Africa. Currently, Vodacom is the largest telecommunications company in South Africa, but that deal didn't work out because MTN wanted Telkom to only engage with it and only focus on MTN when it comes to merger talks. But Telkom was also entertaining other parties that wanted to buy it, including a company called Rain. And now Telkom starting talks with Rain really made MTN upset because it really wanted exclusivity in the merger talks. But the fact that Telkom was entertaining Rain really made MTN upset, and MTN decided to really walk away from any potential merger with Telkom. Now, MTN still maintains that it sees the merits of merging with Telkom. So those merger talks might start again down the line in future, but for now, those talks collapsed this year.
And this one, a lot of people have been watching with keen interest. Impala Platinum and Northern Platinum, that bidding war to buy the Royal Bafokeng Platinum. You're seeing recently reports suggesting that Northern Platinum, raising the cash part of its takeover, this in order to try and outsmart its own, rival in this part of this bidding war. How is that one going? Where do things stand now?
Well, Northern Platinum really swooped in on Royal Bafokeng Platinum by tabling an offer to buy the company, and that offer was worth 50 billion rand. But Northern Platinum and Impala Platinum have been engaged in sort of what is called a bidding war for Royal Bafokeng Platinum. Both companies have been buying shares in Royal Bafokeng Platinum slowly in the open market, so on the JSE. Royal Bafokeng Platinum is listed on the JSE. To date, Impala Platinum has acquired over 40% of Royal Bafokeng or its shares, and Northern Platinum has also bought shares in Royal Bafokeng Platinum. It owns about 35% of Royal Bafokeng Platinum. So a bidding war has started between both companies. But right now, the acquisition proposals from both companies, that is Impala Platinum and Northern Platinum, are currently being assessed by competition authorities in South Africa, mainly the Competition Tribunal, that is weighing up the merits of both of the proposals by Northern and Impala Platinum to buy Royal Bafokeng. So that bidding war is still going to intensify going into next year.
And I can see it intensifying. It's been a fascinating bidding war as one reads how they've been trying to really outsmart and outbid each other. Thank you so much, Ray, for your time. Do appreciate it. That is Ray Mahlaka, business journalist, as we take you back in time to the business world in 2022.